In the Torah, we have Shlomo HaMelech, who knew deep secrets of the world, knew the language of every creature, was able to speak to all beings. He was the king of the world, not just king of people. King of the world means that he was the king of the demons, he was the king of the birds, he was the king of the everything. And he showed his people different things that no one knew existed. He said that there are different creatures in the world, that if we saw them today, they would look to us like aliens, because they don't look like us. But they exist in this world, here where we are. So he commanded the king of the demons, named Ashmadai, to do certain things for him. One of the things that he asked them to do, or commanded them to do, is to go bring him certain beings that lived in a different part of the world that's under the ground. So he showed them, he brought them to this world, and after he finished, he goes, put him back. He goes, no, that's something I can't do. I can only bring him here, I can't bring him back. So one of the people that he brought, one of the things that he brought was someone that had two heads. Two heads, but in this world, if you're born with two heads, that's usually because there's something, deformity. No, there's not deformity, this is how they are. Then he brought a little person. Then he brought different creatures. Point being is that Torah says that there are different types of creatures that exist in the world. Different types of animals, different types of things that exist in the Torah that they made movies about and we think are fairy tales, but in reality they're real. So for example, there is an animal that cannot, it's an animal that kills everything it sees, but it's something that you can kill by cutting its umbilical cord, because the umbilical cord is tied to the ground. Wherever it goes, the ground goes with it. But it's a destructive animal. It kill anything in sight. It's a very vicious animal. There's another, creature that the Rambam even talks about it. There's another creature that called a re'em. Re'em is something that's a combination of a deer and a bull, but just in dinosaur size. That also existed in the world. Meaning the Torah has many, many different creatures that are under the world, that are here, that we haven't seen, that are very much real. We just don't necessarily know about them. We're still discovering new species now. Like right now, they discovered a new species that the Torah talks about, or at least it's similar to it, which is something similar to the shamir worm. Point being is that there's a lot of things we don't know about the world. Torah does talk about all of that stuff. One of the other interesting secrets that Torah has about what's under the ground and what's above us is water. Water. Why? Because the Torah says in Sefer Bereshit, chapter 2, I think verse 4, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the water, split the heavens, and he split the water from under the heavens and above the heavens. And Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer says that yes, the water that's above the heavens is much, much greater than the water under the heavens. So for many years, people made fun of the Torah. I said, what are you talking about? Water under the heavens, meaning water under the sky, we know. We know water under the sky. The ocean, 72% of the world is an ocean, is one big sea. But in outer space, there's no ocean. There's no ocean. You don't see an ocean in Mars. You don't see an ocean on the moon. You don't see an ocean on any other planet. We think there may or may not be, but we don't see it for sure. So they said, so there's a mistake in the Torah, because why? The Torah says not only is there water in outer space, but there's actually even more water in outer space than here. So Torah says the people thought that we made a mistake, until the scientists finally caught up to what Torah says, and two scientists by the name of Professor Louis Frank and Dr. John Sigworth, with an advanced telescope, discovered that a few major bodies of water we never knew existed. One of them was something that we call a falling star. Sometimes you see a star falling. It's not really falling. It's not falling. It's not even a star. It's not even a star. It's a comet. What's a comet? A comet is an enormous, giant ice ball. And the only reason why it looks like it's falling is because it's passing in direct line with the sun. and it's melting at high speed. Therefore, it's creating a track. We never knew that these things were actually ice, because each one of them literally is like a huge, you can fill up half an ocean. So we saw, wow, there's a lot of them. Whoa. And then they discovered, these two professors, that the entire outer surface of the universe is where all of these comets break off of. Why? Because the entire outer surface of the universe is all ice. Meaning that the water above the heavens is much, much greater than the water under the heavens. But even more so, recently, in just the last decade, scientists discovered huge bodies of water underground in this world. So much so that they say that there's much more water underground than there is in the ocean. It's just stored differently inside rocks and so on and so forth, but it's much, much greater. Meaning the ocean that's under the ground is greater than the ocean above the ground. You can see this stuff on the internet if you'd like. Very, very interesting stuff. Point being is that in every aspect that you want, if you want to consider the heavens the ground, then it's still right. The ocean and this. You want to consider it the other ways, and so on and so forth. Meaning that Torah is right in every direction you go. It's just that sometimes, most of the time, science is behind the Torah. Many, many decades, and in some cases a few centuries.